5 people have been arrested in connection to the Southern California jailbreak. The 3 inmates escaped nearly a week ago, and officials say they had outside help. The inmates were gone for 16 hours before guards even realized they were missing.
So these inmates, they used tools to cut through the metal behind their cell, and then they reached the roof and then rappelled down the side of the building using a makeshift rope made out of bed linens. Crimesider's Graham Cates is here. He's been following the story from the very beginning. So what do we know about these folks?
The 5 people who were arrested, sheriffs say they have some connection to the escapees, but they haven't said exactly what. But what we do know is that the sheriffs have been focusing on a couple of Vietnamese gangs that 2 of the 3 escapees are said to be associated with. But we also know that separately from that, they think that Jose Nayeri, who is the 3rd escapee, probably masterminded the whole thing. Separate from that, they're also looking into whether or not they got help within the jail, including maybe from jail personnel themselves.
This is certainly an embarrassment for this particular facility. Are they making any security changes as a result of this?
Yeah, so corrections experts have really piled on in these last few days about the security measures at that jail, and they said they're beginning to respond as of yesterday. They said they've changed the way they do counts at the jail. Originally, they were only actually checking to make sure each inmate was there at 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. with that huge gap in between. And now they said that when they do counts during the day, it's a little less informal. They're making sure they can account for each and every inmate, whether or not that person's in court, if they're at a medical thing, if they're kind of traveling without the jail. They're trying to make sure now that they know where each person is.
You know, Graham, we had Matt Horace here, former ATF agent, and we were asking him about how difficult or easy it might be if you're an escaped criminal to evade capture in a city versus what we saw in New York State last year in Dannemora, where it was sort of a wooded area and you could set a tracking team through the forest. Here you're in a city with millions of people. What are they saying about if they're getting any closer to apprehending them?
It's a different kind of investigation. You actually have to kind of track down sources, people within the community. And in that regard, the sheriff has been doing interviews on Vietnamese radio networks. She's been going into Little Saigon. That's the community where they say this, in Orange County, where they say these gangs are based. And she's just trying to get people to, if you've heard anything, let us know. And in some ways, by bringing in these 5 people who they're not clarifying are from the gangs, you might be getting the impression that, they're pressing their sources in a more formal way for information, too.
Are you hearing from some of the people that you've spoken with that they're any closer to finding these guys?
There's really no indication. I mean, they're not saying they're closer, and if they're not saying it, then, there's no real way to guess at it.